We're here just a couple days after the passing of Michael Jackson. What are your first thoughts about who he was as a black man in the music community?
You know, Michael Jackson has made it so I don't even think of him first sometimes as a black man. I think of him as a man. He made so many strides, and he just made it so, he did it on purpose, I think. He wanted us to forget that he was black. You noticed a difference in his skin tone over the years. You noticed what I like to call a radical narrowing of his nose. And these are things that are associated with African Americans. And I think, though, as much as sometimes it would bother me and bruise my heart that it seemed like he was sort of running away from being an African American, I do realize, like a lot of African Americans do, that dealing with race in this country is a very complicated issue, and we each deal with it in our own way, and Michael was a very complicated individual.
Do you think people in the black community saw him as trying to escape his race?
I mean, I think it was clear he was trying to look not as African American as he looked when he was a young boy, when he was a part of the Jackson 5 and the Jacksons, when he was very brown and he had a big bouncy afro and he had a wide nose. He was gorgeous. He was gorgeous. But you have to remember that Michael Jackson grew up in the 60s and the 70s. People forget that there weren't always African Americans on television, and there weren't a zillion black athletes and black doctors and lawyers and teachers. I don't know how many messages he received as a child that told him that being black was wonderful and being black was beautiful.
There's been a lot of talk of Michael Jackson transcending race. Mm-hmm. Do you think his choices in terms of his appearance actually brought up the racial discussion more? Do you think that he did transcend race?
Transcending races, that's always a weird statement to me in this country. I think the ways in which he transcended race were the things that he did through his work more than what he did in terms of how he looked. I mean, he all but integrated MTV in 1983 with his Billie Jean video. He changed radio formats. People forget that before Michael Jackson, radio formats in this country were horrendously segregated. There was the black station, there was the white station, there was just the country station, and never did it cross over. And Michael Jackson pretty much invented crossing over, a term that we all use so regularly. He was the Jackie Robinson of pop music. I'm not even 100% sure that pure pop music existed in this country before Michael Jackson.
And explain a little bit more of how he did that. What changes did he make?
I mean, love MTV to death, but in 1983 they were not playing a lot of African American videos. They were not playing videos by the most popular African American stars of the time. Rick James was one of the people who spoke out about it vocally, and lo and behold, here comes a video, Billie Jean, which if everyone remembers, man, it was revolutionary. It was beautiful, it was expensive, and it was Michael Jackson dancing and being who he was. And as the legend, goes, the powers that be at MTV couldn't resist it, that everybody loved it and they had to put it on, and they did, and the response was overwhelming. And this opened the door, and I believe gave MTV the confidence, if we want to call it confidence, to then start playing videos from other artists of color. And Michael he kicked down that door. He kicked down that door.
When you say he's the Jackie Robinson of the pop world, what do you mean by that? For viewers who don't know the background, who Jackie Robinson is, whatever, if you could just take us through.
If people are really not knowing who Jackie Robinson is, Jackie Robinson integrated Major League Baseball. He was very carefully chosen for that job. Michael Jackson, I don't know that he was carefully chosen. I think his talent could not be denied. It simply could not be denied. His music just appealed to everybody. And I don't use the term everybody lightly or loosely. He appealed at one point or another. I would be hard pressed to find, I think, anybody on this globe, and the record sales prove it, that has not at some point in their life listened to and liked, if not loved, a Michael Jackson record. The guy was just very special, and he was able to just appeal across the board.
What was Michael Jackson's stance on race?
I think sometimes people would think that because of the changes in Michael's hair and his skin tone and his facial features, that they might have some idea that he wasn't proud of who he was. of who he was born, you know, what he was born as.
Of being black.
Of being black. I just don't think that's true. I think that he struggled with it. And he struggled with it openly and in a way that was painful for many African Americans to watch, confusing for people of other races to witness. I still think that he was quite proud of who he was as an African American man on this planet.
What makes you think that?
In some ways, maybe it's my hope. But Michael essentially made black music. He made it until the day he died. He was dancing in ways up until the days before his death, practicing at Staples Center for his big upcoming London extravaganzas. He was dancing on stage in a way that comes to him from his roots of being an African American. No matter how pop Michael got, the roots of his music were always African American. He knew this. I don't know what it is in me that knows he knew this, but I know it. I know it, and maybe I don't know it, maybe I just extremely believe it. I know he was aware of that and proud of it. He couldn't have done it as well as he did it without being proud of it.